Did you know that for this movie, actor Bob Odendirk himself has had two break-ins occur at his own home, one of which was extremely traumatic for his family. He had his own complicated and difficult feelings on the subject and brought those into the conversation regarding the shaping of the story and character. He said, "You always wish you'd done more." So I remember the first time I even heard of the movie, my brother-in-law Jack, told me that it was his dad's favorite movie. He loved that movie, and Jack really liked this movie as well. And I was very familiar with John Leach, who produced this movie. I've seen all of his movies, so I knew it was going to be good. I have three things in this movie that I really liked, and my last thing is definitely my favorite. First thing I liked about this movie is the story and the characters. The story, I liked how it starts out where we get a little nice sequence of just the day-to-day that Hutch goes through. I've always been a fan of those type of sequences. They're pretty common, but I'm still a fan of how they're executed, and it just really gets you in kind of the mindset of like understanding like kind of Hutch's mindset, what he's going through. He's just playing a guy who kind of going through the motions, not on the best terms with his wife and his family. Break-in happens, and it's kind of the classic, like he doesn't want to expose himself to his family because he's been living in secret for so long. They have no idea that he's this kind of guy, right? So that kind of style, that kind of storytelling has been done before, but I don't think it's ever been done from a break-in perspective. It's been done in other instances, but the break-in perspective was pretty interesting, was pretty fresh, pretty new. I like that. The fact that it originates from Bob Odendirk actually dealing with a couple break-ins in his own life made it much more real, much more raw. I like the characters too. Hutch is awesome. I really liked Hutch's dad, portrayed by Christopher Lloyd. It was really fun having him in that movie. And then we had Hutch's brother Harry. I would like to see in the sequel that's coming out very shortly. I'd like to learn a little bit more about Hutch's family, his father, where their mother is, if Harry is biological or if he was adopted. I think it'd just be really interesting to find out more about that family because it's good world building. Like they're starting to build the world here. We're starting to really be interested and intrigued by these characters. Then the villain Yulian. I kind of find it a little funny that the Russians are once again the bad guy. I know that they aren't the bad guys in all of the movies that John Leach has produced and directed. I mean, they are the main bad guys throughout all of John Wick movies except for the last one. So I always find it kind of funny, like he really leans heavily into the Russian bad guy stereotype and all that. It's always entertaining, but this guy was different. Like I kind of like Yulian's character, how he was very, I don't know how you would even describe him. Kind of charismatic. He was kind of weird, but he was very serious at the same time. His character was pretty interesting to me. I always found his character to add a little comedy to this movie. Second thing I liked about this movie is the action sequences were really, really good. Whenever John Leach is in charge of choreography, you know it's going to be top tier. And I read that Bob did 95% of his own stunts. Like some of the fight scenes, they purposely would make them really long shots to show everyone that he's actually the one doing the stunts. They wouldn't cut anywhere. The only stunt I'm aware of that he didn't do was when he was thrown out of the bus. That was a stunt double, but everything else was Bob, which is really impressive. He put the work in to learn all that. He worked out for a couple years. Like I said, it was very different. He really impressed me. I was very surprised by just how well he can fit into this genre. I like the bus fight scene, of course, but I also like the battle at the warehouse. It reminded me kind of a combination of the last Rambo movie and The Equalizer, because they're just using equipment that they have around and they're making it so it's extremely deadly. So very like military mindset there. That's really why I think it reminds me of those, because both of those movies there was military mindset involved. So they use whatever they have and you can make anything deadly if you're creative enough, smart enough. That scene just always cracks me up. Just how just chaotic it is, but how well it's shot and put together. And of course that goes into my favorite part of this movie was the bus fight scene. And the one thing I always like about this scene is if you've watched any of like the John Wick movies or any other John Leach movies, most of the time the protagonist doesn't really walk away from the fight with any bruises or anything. They may get hit a couple of times, but they're not like severely damaged. Like they usually just kind of walk it off. Hutch actually gets hit pretty hard a few times. He gets stabbed. I mean, you could tell he's been in a fight. Like, I kind of like that subtle change to the character where making it a little more realistic because, you know, movies have the creative freedom, creative control to do whatever they want. So, of course, most of the time when there's crazy fight scenes, of course, the good guy's always going to walk away, you know, unscathed. Everyone else is being to a pulp and dying, you know. But I like that it's actually realistic and he actually walks away with some injury to himself. So I was very, very happy with that. Of course, the bus fight scene goes for a pretty good amount of time. It slowly just like progresses on and builds up and builds up and builds up. Just really showcasing just the amount of work that Bob put into learning all these the fight choreography and just the brutality of it. Like, that's the one thing I always love about John Leach's movies is they're brutal, they're real, they're raw, they're just so in your face. Like, you can feel every hit. You can really feel what the protagonist is going through every time he's punched, stabbed, thrown through a window, whatever it is. Like, it's really, you're just in the action, you're immersed in it, and I think that's one of the strongest parts to any John Leach movie. So I highly recommend, if you haven't seen Nobody or if it's been a while since you've seen it, see it again. Get ready for Nobody 2, which is coming out in just a couple weeks from now. Very, very excited for that movie. So for Nobody, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10 Mudflaps. And remember to leave me a thumbs up and drop in the comments below. What's your favorite John Leach movie? See you soon.